Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of High Energy Girl. And today's amazing guest is Jennifer Sobel. She is a professional belly dancer. My only regret is that I did not check out her moves. So let's go and say hello to Jen. Hey everyone, welcome to High Energy Girl, a podcast helping women to age stronger because it is never too late to get fit, be strong, and feel sexy. I'm your host, Tracy Gluhide, health coach and personal trainer and founder of highenergygirl.com. Each week, we will either have a guest interview, which will provide you encouragement or an actionable tip to help you age stronger, or I will do a solo episode. Please also join our awesome Facebook group called High Energy Girls, and I'm looking forward to see you on the inside of that group and hope you enjoy today's show. Give a woman a fish, feed her for a day. Teach a woman to fish, feed her for a lifetime. Teach a woman to fish, end world hunger. Have you ever wanted to help people improve their health journey? Have you thought about coaching people with a keto lifestyle? Would you like to become an integrative health coach? Well, the Institute for Integrative Nutrition, or IIN as we call it, is the largest nutrition school in the country. And in 2011, I graduated from their program and became a health coach. It was completely awesome. We learned over 100 different dietary theories and talk about craziness and confusion. My wish for you is that we can lock arms and create a tribe of health coaches all around the country, all around the world to spread the keto message. If this resonates with you and you would like to look into this option deeper, please go to my blog at highenergygirl.com and click on the link to the right of the homepage. Here you can grab the curriculum guide and see if it inspires you. Since I care so much about my listeners, I negotiated the very best tuition rate for you at IIN. Either you can contact them directly and give them my name, or I will introduce you to a counselor so you can decide if this is a good fit for you and your career goals. Let me know how I can support you in this coaching career opportunity. Hey, Jennifer, thanks so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me, Tracy. I'm super excited.
Me too, girl. Me too. So why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I have been a professional belly dance instructor and performer for over 16 years. And it's actually the thing that I've done the longest throughout the years, but I've also been an acupuncturist. I've been a personal trainer. And so I really bring this holistic approach to my belly dance programs and really see that belly dance is so much more than a beautiful dance and art, which it is. It's really this powerful healing modality for women on so many different levels. And that's what I came to discover throughout the years, that there was actually this amazing health benefit to belly dance that was completely unexpected.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I would never have guessed that. And I've never actually heard of a professional belly dancer. Does that mean like you get up on stage and dance and get paid for it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, usually a belly dancer is considered professional when she gets paid for it. So as soon as I started teaching and getting paid for that and performing in restaurants and private events, that's when I considered that I became a professional. Yeah.
Cool. I love it. I want to tell you a funny story. So
Yeah.
at my local gym, I used to teach Zumba. And I used to tell people very jokingly that I was a professional dancer because I got paid to dance, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, you were, right? I mean, there's many kinds of professional dancers, so you should claim that.
Well, I did. And then I was up teaching a class and did a hip hop that went awry and dislocated my knee right in front of everybody.
That is horrible.
I know.
Oh my God.
That
sounds
totally
really
collapsed.
painful. That sounds horrible.
It was pretty bad. But anyway, enough about me, girl. So you're in Bali. Tell us about what brought you to Bali. I think that's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah. So it was always my dream and something that I worked towards for years, to be able to work from anywhere in the world. And so I actually started a digital marketing business in 2016. And so I was working towards this. And then I created my own programs, the belly dance programs that I have. And I just got to a point where I was like, all right, I'm basically doing the same thing in the Bay Area that I would be doing anywhere in the world, and most likely for cheaper, because the Bay Area is so expensive. So I thought, yeah, now's the time for me to go out and do the same thing I'm doing back at home in a more beautiful place. And so that's what brought me here. And I had actually purchased my ticket in January before the whole pandemic situation happened. And I literally arrived on March 12th, right before the doors closed, and it would have been impossible for me to travel.
Oh, it was
So
meant to
I made
be.
it in here just in time. And so I've been, hunkering down and hopefully waiting for the storm to pass.
How has it been in Bali?
It's been great. I feel so grateful that I've been able to be here. It's very beautiful. The locals are so wonderful, and there's really a focus on health here. So there's so many different opportunities to move your body. There's so many amazing restaurants that have really high quality, healthy food, which is really important to me. So, between the environment and these things, it's been wonderful. I feel really blessed to be here.
Oh gosh, I bet. I
Yeah,
bet.
yeah.
So let's go back to what you said earlier about belly dancing. So I find it interesting that you have acupuncture, which is energy work, and then personal training, which is like a different type of energy stuff,
Hmm.
and then the belly dancing. How does it kind of all correlate, and how does it actually help you in all the other ways that you mentioned?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing to observe, insight in terms of the energy. As long as I can remember, I've always had a passion for health and movement. And I can remember, like, I think I was probably 10 years old at the science fair. My presentation was on vitamins. It's like ridiculous. Like, I don't know why, but like these things always really interested me. And I remember I had like, vitamin D3, and it was just
That's
very
funny.
exciting to me.
At 10.
Um, so when I found out about Chinese medicine and this incredible wisdom, very sophisticated system of medicine, it really resonated something in me. And I feel like I believe we have a spirit and we have a soul. And so I feel like all of these things that I've been drawn to in my life were things that had been established a long time ago. And part of my greatest joy in life and what I help other women to do is I feel that our bodies can really be a sanctuary and a refuge from everything that's happening in the world. And for me, whether it was going to the gym or dancing, was a way for me to get out of my head and all the stresses and the thought loops that we get on, and come back to myself and use my body as a way to reground. And that's really that's one of the most healing things that we can do for ourselves. And, as you know, probably, I'm assuming you know that stress is one of the uh, most destructive things for our health. So the
Mhm.
more we can reduce our stress and use our bodies as a way to minimize our stress and get this sense of freedom and empowerment, that's one of the most healing things that we can do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And movement, I agree, is like one of the best ways. Um, so you said something a minute ago. You said something about we have a soul. Okay. So here's another food
Hmm.
for thought. I like it said this way. We are a soul and we have a body.
Totally. Absolutely. I agree.
Somebody's, yeah, I used to
It's
say
a
it the
great
other way.
shift. Hmm.
Yeah.
Totally. It's a great
So,
shift because we forget that I think our our amnesia, our daily amnesia is, like you said, to forget who we truly are. And those moments, whether it's you're taking a walk in nature or you're meditating or you're moving, you sometimes can have that aha epiphany moment where you're like, ah, right, that's who I am.
Oh
That's
my
who I am. All
God.
this other stuff, that's not me. And these silly things that I'm worrying about, that's not me either.
Oh my God, you're going to make me cry. I love what you just said. Our daily amnesia. Like
It's
that is,
really like that.
talk about that a little bit, Jennifer, because I've heard that term recently for the first time.
Mm,
And like I'm just starting to get deep into all of this spiritual stuff. I've always been what I would call religious, been a Christian like all my life. But now in the last couple years, I've been more on the spiritual journey.
mhm,
And that phrase I just heard recently about the amnesia, about really where we came from. And
mhm,
I'm doing a class next week with one of my teachers about past lives.
mhm. Yeah.
So what does daily amnesia mean exactly?
It's funny. I've never actually said that before. It's the first time I said that.
Well, you're getting a
Um,
download, girl. Run with it.
well, and that's the thing, is that in my programs, and one of them is a monthly program, so I'm always creating new content, and I just did a Love Your Belly live challenge. And so every morning when before I would go live, I meditate. I've been meditating daily for over 20 years, and I remind myself that everything I do in the world isn't about me. It is about downloading. It is about being a channel, a medium for this greater wisdom, that I'm just in service to. But I think it's interesting, when we have amnesia and we lose perspective in our lives, we're not seeing and we're forgetting even the most basic things about who we are, what our path should be, how we should do it. And so if we don't get regrounded into our body, it's so easy to lose sight of those things and then be making bad choices in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I believe that we have a voice all the time that sometimes, most of the time, we don't hear it, that's telling us, not, yeah, you're going down not a good path there. Are you sure you want to do that? And so the more we can be present, and that's what the body does, is bring us back into present time.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the past, not in the future. It brings us back into the present, back into this moment where we can have epiphanies, we can have remembrance of who we really are at our core, which doesn't change. And I brought during my Love Your Belly challenge, the very first day, I brought the women through an exercise where I had them remember a time in their life when they felt they were the best version of themselves. What were they doing? What did it look like? When you really felt like, yeah, this is me, this is who I really am. And to remember that every day. And it was a really powerful exercise.
Yeah, it's like I was pregnant. I would love to be pregnant.
Hmm.
Loved it. I had 3 babies and I felt like I was the only one ever that had gone through what I was going through, like I was that special.
Well, but in a way
So,
you were, because you were having your own experience and you were the
mhm,
only one that was going to experience it in that way. So that's probably why you did feel that way. It was completely
well
unique
said.
to you. And
Yeah,
whatever it
that's true.
awakened in you and helped you connect to, that was the you that felt most you.
Yeah, that's funny. That was a long time ago. My youngest is 24. Um,
That's awesome. That's amazing.
yeah, they're easier when they're on the inside, let me tell you. Um,
Yeah, I'm sure.
so talk about more about how you went from well, where'd you go to school for acupuncture?
So I went to Yosan University of Chinese Medicine, which first was in Santa Monica, but it's in Los Angeles. And it was started by a family that had many multi generations of healers, and it was amazing.
Oh, that's cool. And
It's
then why
Chinese
did you
medicine is
leave
so
that?
cool. Well, now I'm kind of seeing how it's all going to come together. I love Chinese medicine. I always will. And I have plans to bring it full circle again. But just putting needles in people every day wasn't tapping into all these other things that I enjoy doing. And I'm really a creator at heart, and I love creating new things, new businesses, new products, whatever it might be. And so it wasn't allowing me to express that part of me. So
Mm,
that's ultimately what it was, is that I just felt for myself, just putting needles in people all day felt too limiting for me
mm.
ultimately. But I do plan on bringing the Chinese medicine back in a much bigger way than I would have been able to do it back then, because I feel like like the vast population is not benefiting from all the wisdom and benefits of Chinese medicine. And I want to do something about that, but in a way that feels really approachable and easy to access.
Cool. I'm all about that. Yeah, and I think that's totally true because I have a teacher of mine who I learned qigong from,
Hmm.
and he is also is an acupuncture like just like you. And I've learned a lot from him, but a
Hmm.
lot of it's just confusing as heck, I've got to say.
Right.
And I think it would be cool to learn it in a simple version, like
Yeah.
something like a fourth grader can understand.
Exactly. And I think that unfortunately has been one of the main reasons why people haven't accessed Chinese medicine in the way that they could have, because with anything in life, if more questions are created, you're probably not going to do it. If you're going to think about doing Chinese medicine, but then you're like, well, I don't know what all this qi is and how does it work, and then more questions are created instead of answers, you're probably not going to do it. So I don't want to create more confusion. I want to create more clarity and just really distill it back to its essence, because at its base, it is one of the most powerful medicines, been around for thousands of years. Could it be more time tested than that?
Yeah, I'm all about that. I just interviewed a doctor today that was talking about the history from our country and how we went from holistic type medical schools to more allopathic medical
Hmm.
schools and
Yeah.
all of that. So the
Yeah.
holistic route I think is powerful. I mean, God gave us so much in nature that we
Right.
don't use anymore. Everything comes out of a lab now.
Exactly. And there's nothing holistic about that. And like Chinese herbal formulas, there's usually minimum 5 herbs in a formula, usually more like 10, and they all work in this very sophisticated way. So any potential side effect of an herb, if you only took one, would be balanced out by something else that's in the formula. And that's what's so sophisticated about it. Because even if you go into Whole Foods now, you see so many single herbs. Well, that might not be the best thing to just take one single herb on its own.
Yeah.
Right. But I think that integrative medicine is really where it's at, because Western medicine has its gifts, alternative Eastern medicine has its gifts, and they need to be friends, and they
Hmm.
need to know where their strengths are and where their limitations are. I'll never forget one of my professors in Chinese medicine school. He was a nurse and he taught our pharmacology. And he said Western medicine was built on the battlefield, like literally. It's a trauma medicine. It's
Hmm.
for saving lives. It's for infections. It's for when you need surgery. That's where Western medicine really shines.
Yeah,
So let's
triage.
understand that. Yeah, that's what it's for. Wonderful. Nobody wants to give that up. I'm not going to go to an acupuncturist if I break my wrist. But for chronic stuff, not where it shines, or prevention.
Yeah. That's what he was talking about, is about prevention.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
and then where does belly dancing fit into all this, Jennifer?
Well, long story short, it's fun.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's fun. That's why I keep coming back to it day after day, year after year, why I feel compelled to create belly dance programs, because it's joy. It's joyful. And I think that there's so many women that I hear from personally that join my programs because they're just looking for a fun way to work out that doesn't feel like they're working out, where they can really strengthen their core without doing sit-ups. So that it's a very fun way to meet their fitness goals.
Mm.
And also, belly dance is so uniquely suited for women to connect with their inner goddess, their femininity, their own experience of sensuality and sexuality. And so many women are looking to increase their confidence and their self-esteem, and just to access and connect to that part of them. And I think that also, I mean, there's a lot of controversy around the origins of belly dance. Where did it come from? But one of the theories, and I believe it's true, it makes total sense, is that belly dance really began as a fertility dance that women would do to primarily prepare themselves for childbirth, to help to strengthen their pelvic floor, um, and to both strengthen and relax the muscles of the pelvis. So it was pretty much always a dance that women would do with women exclusively. This whole misconception and myth that belly dance is for men's entertainment is not true. And of course, it's so annoying that that would become the myth, because it's all about, men and men's entertainment. But it was a dance women would do for each other, with each other. Um, and it also had this benefit of strengthening the pelvic floor. And that's how I discovered this benefit myself, because one of my students came up to me after class one day and told me that since she'd been doing belly dance, she didn't have bladder leaking anymore.
Wow.
And that's how I came to create my program of strengthening the pelvic floor with belly dance, because she told me that. I never would have made that connect. Never in a million years would have made that connection had she not told me that. But as it turns out, they actually did research it. There's a study, a very reputable study in the Journal of Physical Therapy Science, where they actually studied belly dance for pelvic floor and incontinence and found it to be effective. So it's being shown to be true now.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
Anything
really
to help
cool.
that, especially after with 3 kids.
Exactly. And, in my research, I found out that over 50% of women will have this issue at some time in their life. Over 50%. And it's kind of sad to me, because it has to be one of the most common problems that women have that pretty much nobody wants to talk about, because there's so much embarrassment around it. And so women aren't realizing how common it is. And there's nothing to be ashamed and embarrassed about. And there's solutions to strengthen your pelvic floor. You don't need to accept this as a part of your life experience. And there's other cultures where they are better about helping women to get their pelvic floor in the right state before pregnancy. Even more, I'm trying to think of the right word. Like countries like Borneo, where their incidence of bladder leaking is very small, because they support women in strengthening their pelvic floor. So in
Mm.
these very developed, civilized countries like America, countries in Europe, Canada, UK, whatever, we have some of the highest incidence of bladder leaking. And then, you know, you look at Borneo and it's really low.
Oh, wow. That's interesting. I've never even thought about that. I didn't realize it was so common. I only
So
get it
common.
when I do deadlifts. So,
Yeah, it's very common in the CrossFit community as well. Um, so, you know, but there's so many women, and it could be, you know, it's all on a spectrum. Could be something small, like, oh, just when I laugh, or, you know, if I cough too strongly or whatever, or it could be having this problem every single day. And I had a
mm,
woman who took my, I have this 21-day challenge. After the 21 days, her leaking was completely gone after 26 years. And I think
wow.
26 years she'd had this problem. And I think part of it is that usually when a woman goes to her doctor, she's told, yeah, this is just kind of goes with the territory of being a woman or having kids, or just, you know, basically just deal with it and do Kegel exercises.
Hmm.
Well, most women are not going to do Kegel exercises because they're not sure where those muscles are. They're not sure they're doing it right. It's kind of boring,
Yeah.
you know, for all these reasons. And so they're just not going to do it. And so the
Hmm.
problem doesn't get fixed. They just accept this limitation on their activities. But it doesn't have to be that way.
So I would never think that contracting your pelvic floor was a part of the belly dancing.
Yeah, and the cool thing about it is that, and I think what makes it so powerful and effective is that you don't really even need to think about where the muscles are necessarily. Like, you don't have to get super dialed in on it. You just try to do the movement. And yeah, I provide cues like, okay, or metaphors, tricks, pretend like you're doing this, or, you know, you have to somewhat identify the muscles needed to do the movement, but you don't need to super get dialed in on where your pelvic floor is. You just do the belly dance movement, and then you're naturally activating those muscles just by
Oh,
doing the movement itself. And I think that's why my student was so surprised when she came up to me after class, because she wasn't making that connection necessarily between the belly dance and her pelvic floor muscles. She was just belly dancing and having fun, and then boom, the problem was gone. So it's like this fun side effect just
yeah.
from doing the belly dancing.
That's cool. I teach a breath work meditation modality to
Mm,
my clients on Monday nights. And part of it is a breath retention where you
hmm.
contract the pelvic floor. And I
Right.
always say one of the potential side effects of this is orgasm. So if you're one of the lucky ones, just let us know.
Well, exactly. You know, I mean, and that is a great side effect of having well, and with that breath work and really activating the pelvic floor. But when you have a stronger pelvic floor, you're also going to have better orgasms. You're going to have more sexual pleasure for yourself. Your partner will as well. I mean, that's another wonderful thing.
Yeah, darn it.
That's great.
So how did people get started with like your like classes or everything that you do? Like what is their first step for
Yeah.
if people are interested in this? Because it sounds great.
So the program that helps to strengthen the pelvic floor specifically with belly dance is called the Belly Dance Solution. And I'll share that link with you. So that's a good intro program if they're wanting to strengthen their pelvic floor. But if their focus is more wanting to learn belly dance, because I hear from so many women, oh, I've always wanted to learn belly dance. It was something that was always in their mind. Then I recommend my Feminine Fire program, which is a really comprehensive learn belly dance program, and I teach a really unique system where I teach women how to create their own belly dance routines in a really simple way in a very short amount of time with like this building block kind of way where women then become creators in their own body and can actually create fun routines for themselves. So that's a super comprehensive in terms of there's a ton of videos in there, and it's very doable no matter what someone's skill level is, even if they feel they're totally uncoordinated. So if you're wanting to learn belly dance, I would recommend that program. It's a monthly membership program, and I do a lot of other fun, cool stuff in there as well, besides just belly dance, because I think it's also about living your best life, and in many different ways: health, empowerment, getting clear on your mission, your purpose, what's important to you. So it's so many different aspects to empowerment in that program.
Yeah, that's cool. That's what people need is direction, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
So, what type of music do you personally belly dance to?
That's a great question. Obviously, I love Arabic music, more classic belly dance music, and there's a lot of different subgenres in that. But I dance a lot to hip hop. I love hip hop music, and hip hop is perfect for belly dance because it has those stronger bass beats, which is very similar to Middle Eastern music, is the drum. So it's so easy to belly dance to hip hop. So like if I'm going to the gym, I'm listening to hip hop, and then I'll throw in some belly dance in between my sets. It's so much fun, and it's a perfect fusion.
Oh, so you just reminded me, Bollywood. That is what used to
Mm,
be like really popular. I don't know if it still is, but I remember
yeah.
I did some Bollywood stuff when I used to teach. Not
Uh-huh.
belly
Yeah.
dancing, but more hip hop.
Right. Okay, got it. Yeah, and I think there still is like programs for Bollywood and stuff like that, but that looks very different. And there's so many different types of moves with belly dance. Some of them are stronger, some of them are softer, and so it's this really beautiful blend of strength and fluidity that I really love. But I always tell my students, belly dance to music that makes you inspired to dance, whatever that might be. If it's metal, if it's country, I've even belly danced to jazz. I mean, you can belly dance to anything. It's what inspires you. What inspires you to move your body, then belly dance to that. There's no rule that you need to dance to belly dance music.
And that is great wisdom because the when I think of belly dancing, I think of like women in like Hawaii or you
Hula.
know, like that are shaking really a lot. Like that's the first thing that comes to mind. But
Hmm.
thinking about Arabian music or hip hop, that sounds fun.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, whatever music you would listen to normally that gets you fired up, that's the music you belly dance to. Because otherwise, I think that if you're not listening to music where you can't help but get up and dance, you're probably not going to. Do you know what I mean? I
Yeah.
can't go to a club with house music. That's not gonna make me want to move my body at all. That's not my thing. You know?
Sometimes I accidentally bust a move at CrossFit, you know.
Exactly, because you're so inspired, right? That's
Yeah.
the best.
And then the owner changes his channel. And I'm like, hey.
I was grooving here. I was deep in the funk.
That's funny. Awesome. So, what wisdom would you tell our listeners that are women? I hope that they're all women. But what wisdom would you tell themselves when they really want to, um, you know, find themselves and empower themselves?
I think that ultimately, um, we all need to have a practice or practices every day that ground us into our body and remind us of who we really are and who we choose to be, who we're going to choose to be in the world. Because what happens is that as soon as we leave our door, the world is very seductive and it will take over us and we'll wind up becoming the world instead of setting our own vibe and intention of how we want to be in the world. And so I think if you don't have some sort of daily practice that sets where you consciously set your vibe, then we're going to be pulled apart by the world.
And what is your daily practice to set your vibe?
Yeah, I actually have a whole morning routine. It's not the same every day because I think it's important to just be fluid and organic with how you're feeling in a day. But I always meditate every morning. Well, I would say, you know, there's the occasional day that I don't. But I meditate for 20 to 30 minutes in the morning. That's the like non-negotiable. Because if I don't meditate, I feel like I'm leaving the house naked. Like I feel like I'm just unprepared. I think just reflecting with my coffee, doing nothing, not with my phone or whatever, and just seeing what thoughts come to mind. Reading something inspirational that's high vibe. Gratitude, saying thank you in the morning to whatever you conceive of spirit. So gratitude is an important part of that. Those are some of the things that have made a big difference, meditation being the most important.
So when you meditate, what is your favorite way to do it? Do you use an app? Do you use quiet? What is your favorite way to meditate?
Yeah, so I learned in 2000, I believe that was 2000. Yeah. I learned Kriya Yoga, which is a type of meditation. It's a type of Kundalini meditation where you move energy up and down your spine using your breath. And I learned this through Self-Realization Fellowship, which is Paramahansa Yogananda, who wrote Autobiography of a Yogi, which many people know. So I learned that method through them, and it's a style of Kundalini yoga. But I think that ultimately, the technique of a meditation is not as important as the practice, because I think at base all meditation is a way to take your mind off your thoughts and bring it back to your breath in some sort of form. So I think the technique matters less than the actual practice. And you know, you hear from so many people, oh, I've tried meditation, it doesn't work for me. It's hard for everybody. Every morning that I meditate, I'm dealing with the same stuff. I'm still dealing with my thoughts. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop. It's just a practice. There's no goal in that way. And I listen to inspirational things like Thich Nhat Hanh, who's this amazing Vietnamese Buddhist monk. He passed away recently. But I think the more we can expose ourselves to people that are living or have lived on a high vibrational level, we absorb that. So our environment is so important. Our environment can be media as well. So I think we really need to be careful how and intentional and conscious of what we're exposing ourselves to and our minds, because it all matters. It all adds up.
Well said. Absolutely, because it's a slippery slope.
And you don't know you're going down the slope. That's the problem. You don't even know it's happening. It's that seductive.
Yeah, good
You don't
word.
know what's happening.
So it's like laying that foundation of, I always tell my clients morning and evening rituals,
Totally.
while your mind is still fresh and nobody else's agenda has gotten in your way.
Exactly. Other people's agenda. Right. Because everybody has an agenda for us. And the thing is, if you don't have your own agenda, their agenda is going to be your agenda.
Yeah, that's true. So are you planning on staying in Bali, or are you?
No, I'm actually I'm planning on leaving in June. which is right around the corner. I don't know what's happening with the travel. It's probably going to be, unfortunately, a decision that I'm going to have to make at the last minute. But I want to continue to go on and go to some other countries. So we'll see. We'll see. It's a tricky time to be traveling. I'm thinking about definitely Colombia, because there's certain cities that are more set up for people who work online. And I'm also looking forward to being in a time zone that's closer to the US than where I'm at right now. And Colombia is pretty much in the same time zone as the United States. So, so that's top of my list of where I'll probably go. Yeah, and just I just listen to my intuition. You know, if I want to go back to the US, if I get a download that's what then that's what I do. So I'm just waiting. I think life is about waiting for new information. You know, when you don't know what to do, you tune in and then you wait for new information to come in.
Yep, that is true. That is a good way to look at it. That's why I say that we pray and we ask, but how often do we stop and meditate and listen?
Right. You're probably like, their spirit is talking to you and you're not hearing it. Mm-hmm. We miss the most basic stuff in our life. It's actually disturbing sometimes. Like how there will be a solution to something and you just completely miss it. And you're like, oh my God, like, how did I miss that? Why did I not think about that? Well,
I was trying to tell you, you just quiet your mind and stop and listen.
Right.
So I'm going to pull a card for you. Is that okay?
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Thank you.
You said you were talking the same type of language. So
cool. I love it.
I have a teacher who is like dynamite, and I did her Angel Academy, and she designed these cards. And so let's see what Jennifer, and I have to tell you, the first person on podcast I've ever done this for.
No way. That's so awesome. I'm honored.
This is so appropriate for you, my dear. It's Archangel Haniel and Archangel Raphael are stepping forward to encourage you to pursue healing work. You are a healer.
Wow. Oh my God. I totally got chills.
Is that crazy? That is so appropriate.
Whoa. Oh my God. That's so cool. I love that. And I love that you did that. Thank you.
Well, I'm excited to meet you. And if you ever come back to the Bay, you got to hit me up.
I will. Oh, I totally will. And I have friends there, obviously. So I'm coming back at some point.
Yeah. Oakland's like, I mean, it's supposed to be, my son went to Berkeley and he's like, Oakland's like the new hotspot.
It's changed so much over the years. Yeah. It's rapid change. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of fun, I guess. So I live on a 5-acre farm in the middle of nowhere next to a mountain.
That's so cool though. That's so awesome. But you're so close. Like if you want to be in the big city, you can do that too. So it's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's not far. It's not far. So how can people find you, Jennifer? What's your website, social handles?
Yeah. So my belly dance program for the pelvic floor is thebellydancesolution.com. And my learn how to belly dance program is femininefireofficial.com. And I will provide you with some links for that. And my handles at the Belly Dance Solution and at Feminine Fire Official.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to have to look you up on social too. So that's all fun.
Yeah, totally. Well, when you share the episode with me, I'll share it on my social media.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, that would be great. I just want to thank you so much. You're a breath of fresh air. You have great energy. And
thank you. You too.
Love talking to girls like you. So
thank you so much for having me. It's been great. I really appreciate it.
Awesome. All right. Until next time.
Okay. Thanks so much, Tracy.
Thank you. All right, you guys, that was an amazing show. She was just a breath of fresh air, and she certainly makes me want to go to Bali. How about you? So for complete show notes, head on over to highenergygirl.com/show and check out one of Jennifer's courses. Go out and make it a great day. This podcast contains the opinion and thoughts of its host and guests. It is intended to provide helpful and informative material on the subjects covered. All statements made on the podcast have not been evaluated by the FDA and are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. If the listener requires professional assistance or advice, please contact your personal medical doctor. Both host and guest specifically disclaim any responsibility for any liability, loss, or risk, personal or otherwise, which is incurred as a consequence directly or indirectly of the use and application of any of the contents of these episodes. Like I said, this is my opinion and I could be wrong.